The first thing to remember is that home inspectors are generalists. This means they conduct an overall visual inspection of the home, not a technically exhaustive analysis. The inspection does not cover every aspect of the home. Rather, it covers specific systems and components and their working condition as defined by the Licensing Board SOP.
For areas inspectors cannot see or those that require further investigation, inspectors will also recommend follow-up review by licensed general contractors, electricians, plumbers, HVAC, or roof specialists. A North Carolina licensed home inspector gives us an overview of the state standards of practice and discusses what is and what is not covered in a pre-purchase home inspection.
Every component in a house that we do inspect, I think people need to understand, is the inspection is always going to be limited in some way, shape, or form. Every inspection, mainly visual, can't be destructive along that line. The major areas that a home inspector is going to look at during the course of a home inspection, you're going to check the exterior of the house, you're going to check the roof coverings, the chimneys, skylights, and flashing. We are required to inspect the roof, but we are not required to walk on a roof. You often don't need to walk on a roof to determine that there may be issues or problems with the roof or with roof coverings. If a home inspector can make a determination from the street that the roof is shot and needs to be replaced, they're done with that portion of the inspection. You're going to check the interior of the house. Cabinets, countertops for structural issues though, not cosmetic type issues in the interior. And you're going to check the built-in kitchen appliances.
So we're going to run the garbage disposal. We're going to turn it on. I'm going to let it run for several minutes. I'm going to check for leaks.
Home inspectors are required to report on water and water intrusion issues. You're going to check the plumbing, the water heater, the gas piping. I'm going to look at the outside of the water heater. I'm going to look at for signs of rust, for signs of leaks and other issues like that. I'm going to take a look at the temperature pressure leave valve and the piping. Is the piping on the discharge valve coming down to within 6 inches of the floor? I'm checking the gas piping coming into the water heater and how it's set up and secured. You're going to check all the electrical, the panels, pull the cover off, back up from it. I'm going to check all the wiring coming inside the panel. I'm going to see here that the main wiring coming into the unit is aluminum, which I'm going to note in the report. You're going to check the air conditioning, the heating.
One of the things I'm going to do is I want to check and see how much air is actually moving and pulling across the coils. It needs to pull a fair amount of air across it. I'm going to get down, I'm going to get the manufacturer's data plate and label. That way I can figure out when it was manufactured, what the maximum recommended size breakers are, and other data for both units. I'm going to check the platforms. I'm going to make sure the platforms are sound and stable. I want the platforms a little bit above grade so you don't have the bottom of the condenser sitting in the ground and rusting. Again, I'm going to get a good look at it, listen to it, see how it's going. In this electrical sub panel, I'm gonna check my breakers. I'm gonna make sure I got the right size breakers for the panels. Like the main electrical panel, I'm gonna take this cover off and I'm gonna check the inside of the panel to see if there's any issues or problems going on with that. In the case of the furnace, again, I'll remove the cover. I'll inspect the inside of the unit. I don't have a sealed heat exchanger, so I can see down in it just a little bit. But I'm gonna look down in there. I'm gonna look for signs of rust. So I'm gonna check all my safety valves. I'm gonna check the exhaust blower, cracks and damage and other issues. And then of course I will come in and run it and monitor what the flame's looking like and how it's operating.
You're going to inspect the insulation in the house. You're going to inspect the ventilation in the house. Is the attic properly ventilated? Is the foundation properly ventilated? And you're going to check the structure, including the roof structure, the crawl space, the basement, the foundation. Right here we've got a foundation anchor strap, this metal strap. One, it's set into brick, which is not approved. And then two, the flange of the strap that's to be nailed into the wood framing was never nailed into the wood framing. So that's a structural integrity issue. That helps hold the house, the foundation. Got a pier right here where there's actually a gap and a crack between the pier and the wood frame cripple wall, which would indicate some sort of movement. And you can see the mortar joint right there. At one point in time, this was connected to the two. So they're not tied into each other, and they've had a little bit of movement. Now, I'm not getting this to move, and I'm not getting my screwdriver into the ground under it. So that's telling me I've got some sort of a footing there. Common items that are not part of a standard home inspection. For one, the home inspector is not allowed to do anything destructive. I can't cut holes in walls. I can't tear the siding off the house. I can't dig up the yard. They don't like us moving around personal property, furnishings, things along that line that can block our view. We don't check what are called non-built-in type kitchen appliances, so refrigerators, ice makers, clothes washers and dryers, refrigerators and freezers that may be in garages. Swimming pools are not inspected, exterior hot tubs are not inspected, swing sets, play sets, fencing outside, things that would not come with a normal house. Like most houses don't have lawn sprinkler systems, so those aren't inspected. Home inspectors are not licensed as pest control applicators, so we don't look for termites. We cannot write or generate those wood-destroying insect reports. Another issue that often comes up a lot that inspectors are not required to report on is mold, the presence or absence of mold in a house. Now, home inspectors are required to report on water and water intrusion issues, and mold is always going to be a result of a water issue. For buyers and sellers, in terms of what to expect from the process, I would encourage the home buyer to attend the inspection. If at least maybe come by the tail end of the inspection to get the cliff notes of what's going on. Please understand that as a home inspector, it's my job to come in here and look for anything and everything that's not quite right and that may cause you some problems or some issues down the line, and to make you aware of those issues. Some of the things will be minor issues, some of them will be more major issues. What I may consider a minor issue, you or your client may consider a major issue because people have different opinions and perceptions. With this particular house, the few things that kind of stand out to me is that it's a brick veneer home, and in the brick siding you don't have any what are called weep holes and through wall flashing. And what can happen there is water will migrate through.